Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi, Diablo 4. So one of the things I want to show you as I come across places, I'm going to try to record most of those. So if you come across them, you get an idea of what's inside there. So recently I have been looking at some of the comments, and one of the commenters who's pretty regular mentioned that the Druid, my build's going to suck later on. So I looked on YouTube, and of course there's trash videos for all this kind of stuff because it's not, someone would never play some of those. So I tried one of those builds. I tried to be in a bear form, which is a little bit tanky, and I died a lot. I eventually learned kind of how to play it, but it wasn't that strong. Besides all the glitzy, big lettered, accentuated, it's the best. It's not the best. So I went back and I slightly modified my build. Before I had a ranged resource builder, and now I have like a shock thing I put on my weapon. Probably should have a faster weapon. I don't know. That's always a thing in these games from the people who make World of Warcraft. Anyway, so I have that storm skill, and then I have lightning, which when I lightning, I also heal myself. So this build has turned out to be super, super, super tanky. For example, when I'm out in the real world, I almost never have to use my hurricane nor my creeper vine. I want it to be creeper jammer, but it's not. My creeper vine, or vile creeper, vile vine, whatever it is. Vile creeper, whatever it is, it's not. So the build now is really strong, and so I'm going through this first part, and you'll see sometimes I get low, and this is my aversion to using healing pots. They drop down. I guess, right, I get anxious if I don't have enough healing pots. But there's several times in the game already I've died without using healing pots. And I have to break that, because when you're on hardcore mode, you've got to use healing pots and then run. One thing that you'll see I do, even with this build, sometimes I have to yield. It makes no sense to just stand there and die. And as I go along, I will probably do things that I can build spirit a little bit easier. I'm already into some of those trees. And then at a certain point, I will show you what tree I'm going to use. And I'm sure someone's already did a video on this build. The problem is they might not play it. Furthermore, this is usually when I ask you to like, share, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, comment. I've been told many times that I should be having Discord, so I'm going to get that up, and if I'm smart, I'll put a link to it in this video, but it might not be yet. That's Caesar. Oh, by the way, I got Roxy a haircut, and I'll probably try to make a short for that. But the build, this is probably the toughest part. That's a sure sign. When you see all that happening, that's me just stabbing at keys, trying to get a... Caesar, I will squirt you. That's me just trying to get away. Panicking, trying to get heals. And they push me pretty far. So at this point, I have healing pots to heal. My number one skill, which is a werewolf, where I do a strike in a werewolf, it heals me for 25%. And then I also have every skill point, or every spirit I spend, I get healing back. So that's mainly my right button key, which is that lightning storm. And I have a piece of armor that gives me a bubble. story in Diablo 4 is good. If I had Diablo 3, that was a pretty good story. I like Druid. So I went online. And recently, the people that made Diablo 4 let everyone know what the #1 class, most played class, and that's Sorcerer. And I think in that video, I told you Sorcerer is really powerful. I think it went Sorcerer, Necro, and then on some, whoops, sorry, YouTube. On some boards, it might have been Barbarian, then Druid, and then finally, and I think this was from a beta thing, the final one was Rogue. One of the things they said about Druid was that it was, you can tank or you can do this, but you're not sure what you want to do. As an altaholic, as a person that likes to roll alts and waste time putting things into different characters, it's one of the reasons I like Druid, because if I really want to go bare form and try to tank, I can. And then I just realize how lousy it is. I think I was telling you about heals, so you could see I'm healing through that. This build right now is really solid. Now I'm trying to rush so I can open up the next tier of hardest level. And I kind of alluded to that in the last video, but the reason we want to play on harder levels is that you get better loot. And what Diablo does is they gate that. They just won't let you go there automatically. And at this point, I'm not over leveled, but I feel like I'm over leveled because this is pretty easy. It might be I just know how to play the game a little bit better. Also, a skill I picked up inadvertently is I just will do a random lightning every 18 seconds. And you can see my health during that whole part doesn't go down. So I build up and then and you can see I'm topping off my health all the time. It's embarrassing how good this build is. Now, that's in light of Sorcerer, so I don't want to start a war. Of course, I'd like to be Necro. Those just have skills that I think I'd like. So why did I pick Druid? Well, #1 is when I first went into World of Warcraft, which is same company that made Diablo 4. Maybe not in the beginning, but it is now. Is I played Druid. And so I like that shape-shifting, kind of fits whatever. And probably doesn't have the skills. Really, the skills are more like the Necromancer skills. I love lifesteal. I told you that before. But basically, any skill where I can get healed while I'm doing damage, that's what a lifesteal is. And so they're not saying that that's what's happening, but I'm lifestealing basically. And I like that I could be a werewolf. And one thing I did notice, and they had this in some other games, they had this in ESO, you can be a vampire or you can be a werewolf, but they're exclusive to each other. So I appreciate that they took, this is something that's fun in these other games. If you really wanted to be a werewolf clan, you could just all be werewolves. If you want to be vampires, you could all be vampires. So I appreciate that kind of dynamic stuff in Diablo 4. And I might be talking out of turn. And I might have to disable my caps lock because I hit that thing a ton of times. Just on another front, I think you've seen some of my Destiny 2 gameplay. We did the Spire and Witch Queen, Sloth Mood, Ultimate Shield and I. And so there's a healthy debate on how we move forward. And so it's the exact kind of debate that you should have in any type of group that's doing things. Everyone wants to get through the content. Everyone wants to get through it, not to race through it, but we have a certain amount of time with each other each week. And if we have to grind just to get through the jumping puzzle because Ronan Kazi sucks, that's one thing. And so Sloth has been recommending a weapon, and then I did some research, and it's interesting how different we are. Like, he will get anecdotal information from YouTube, and then he'll do his own testing. And I'm a spreadsheet guy, right? So I feel confident. Okay, now I'm on the boss fight. Timeout. So the boss has a couple of mechanics. One, it blows you away like that. Then it will spawn some people. And then it will throw, here in a second, it will get like 4 directional orbs that go out. So this is the part where it blows you back. It hasn't really done the orbs yet. And at this point in all these boss fights, it's rinse and repeat and you run away. You'll see sometimes I try to stand in and take it once I have enough spirit to go put my, I got 2 emergency heals. I got that, so he's going to push me away. And then those 5 orbs. So then that starts happening. And maybe that's what he was doing the whole time. He was spawning people. So we're going to get into this now over and over and over again. So it's basically done. I think I've told you that before. Sometimes when I get in a point, if they didn't get me in the beginning, it's done. Now I just got to not be stupid. But I might ask you to like, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, share, comment. Would you comment on a Discord channel? That's another argument we're having. Part of all of these things is I'm biased because I'm an old geezer. Get off my lawn, folks. So I always have to gauge that. And sometimes I think I know what I'm doing and I don't. So I'm learning part of that as I grow these channels. But getting back to any type of gameplay, we're in a group and you don't have enough DPS. So we're at the point where we'd like to have more DPS. We were having a healthy conversation. Another timeout, YouTube. Roxy, which I will show you a picture of before, is a poodle type dog who has hair, not fur. And when we first got her, I was like, I don't want this little rat. That's what she looked like. So I let her hair grow. Well, she got her hair cut today and she looks like a little rat. And she looks so different that the dogs were like, Macy and Caesar were like, who the fuck are you? Sorry, you do for swearing. So, anyways. So we're having, and I had to go pick up Roxy. So me and Sloth got interrupted in our conversation. So I'm excited to go test that stuff. And that's what Sloth, we were just on the way to go test that. That to me is interesting. It's not that I'm against the meta, but if I haven't played the meta, how do I know if the meta works? I'd rather do the testing myself. It's not saying that I doubt all people. If Sloth Mood said he tested, I'd take that. He's seen me play. He understands where I'm coming from. So he can correlate from this thing to Ronin Kazi, it will work. It's just like when people give you builds in the Division 2. Look at me panicking. It's just like when people give you builds in the Division 2, when they use Regulus, a pistol not everyone can get. So you might as well just delete those videos because you can't get that pistol very easily. So you might, now people may argue you can, but you got to get it clean. It's not a thing you're going to pick up, blah, blah, blah. So that's one of the things. This is another fault. If you watch, if you were PvPing me, you would realize that when I get close to the end and I see that their health's going down, I will overcommit a little too much at the risk where I may die. So appreciate YouTube. Hope you're having a good one. Hopefully we'll have some good Destiny 2. There it is. Calibel's mine. Out.